focused on proportions, two ratios or rates that are equivalent. Problem number 9 says the length of a Viking ship is given below, and so that's this 70-foot length. That's the dimension that's shown on the picture. What is its width? And you have to. There's some important information in this graphic that you have to notice. It says the ratio of width to length is 3 to 20. So we talked today about one method for solving proportional reasoning problems is to set up a ratio table. So we know that we're comparing width to length for this boat, and we're given the ratio 3 to 20. For every 3 feet of width, there's 20 feet of length. We would like to know the width, so that's unknown, so we'll use W, when we have 70 feet of length, which is the length of the boat. Now, if there was some easy scale factor going from 20 to 70, we could apply it to the 3. Of course, there's always some scale factor, but unless it's a whole number value, usually this isn't the most efficient method. Certainly could do it this way, though. What we can do instead is just directly from our ratio table write a proportion. The proportion is going to look exactly like the ratio table. 3 over W is equal to 20 over 70. And there's other ways to do that. We talked about the property of proportions where you can turn it. In other words, I could do 20 over 3 equals 70 over W. I could do W over 70 equals 3 over 20. I could do W over 3 equals 70 over 20. So the important thing is, whichever way you set it up, these cross products have to be consistent. So we have a cross product 3 multiplied by 70 and a cross product 20 multiplied by W. 3 multiplied by 70 is equivalent to the product of 20 multiplied by W. And you can use that fact to set up an algebraic equation using cross products, which is what I think you should do during the pause and try to solve for W and come back and see how you did.
Paused.
Okay, we spent time in class discussing why you can use cross products, so I'm not going to extend the video unnecessarily, but we know that these cross products have to be equivalent. So 3 multiplied by 70 has to be equivalent to 20 multiplied by W. 3 multiplied by 70 is 210. 210 equals 20W. We simply have a one-step algebraic equation. We spent a whole unit on solving algebraic equations. If I want to know what W is, I want to know what 1W is. We want the multiplicative identity. I don't want to know what 20 W's are. So I can undo this multiplying by 20 by using the inverse operation, which is divide by 20. But if I divide by 20 on the right side of my equation, I have to divide by 20 on the left side of my equation. That's a property of equality. Then I'm using the multiplicative inverse. 20 divided by 20 is 1. When you multiply reciprocals, you get a product of 1. So 1W is just W. And then 210 divided by 20, I can factor out the 10 tenths. And then 21 divided by 2 is 10 and a half. So 10 and 1/2, or 10.5. So the width of the boat, which you can't see in this picture, but it would be sort of like from here to here, however wide that boat is, would be 10 and 1/2 feet, or 10.5. Don't forget your units, feet. You know, I should have included that in the I talk a lot about how you should include your units in your proportion, and I failed to show it in any place here. If you're using a ratio table, the best thing to do is include the units in the table, the labeling of each column of your table. That way you know you're comparing feet to feet. So these are actually ratios since they have like units. Okay, so 10.5 feet for the width. And I hope that helped with at least with that problem, and you can hopefully apply that to other problems. There is one unusual problem, number 10, where you can't exactly set up a proportion like this. You just have to sort of set up a table and use logic in addition to sort of thinking about what would happen if you had more people or less or fewer people or more fences. And so you're comparing people, fences, and hours. That one's a bit more challenging, but other than that, most of the problems are very similar to this one. Okay, I hope that helped with the homework. I'll see you tomorrow.